they stay there, and they say yeah, and they say there. Up, down, cause all I do is win. And if you going in, put your hands in the air, make them stay there.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Radio.
Spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of sport, the thrill of victory, and the agony of defeat.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
The human drama of athletic competition.
All I do is win, no matter what.
It's the CANUSA Sports Desk on the 405 radio. Good morning. We do it live every Saturday morning at 11 Pacific. That is 11 o'clock Eastern Time. So if you're checking out the podcast, you'll want to hear the show live, so you can call us and participate. The toll-free number is 877-297-8022. We're in the Twitterverse at CANUSA SD. And once again, the podcast and all the great live blogging done by Derek and Frank and some other folks are at canusasd.com. So you'll want to check those out as well. Anyway, it's another Saturday morning. We're talking sports for the week. NFL, NCAA football, basketball, Major League Baseball, maybe if we got time. So we'll say good morning to Derek Marquez from Toronto, Ontario. Good morning, Derek.
Good morning, John.
And Frank Nutt is back, former NCAA basketball player, now residing in New York State. So good morning, Frank.
Good morning, John.
And we want to say hello to our special guest, Fred Blue, a former defensive end linebacker for the San Diego Chargers. How cool is that? Learned a lot playing under Coach Norv Turner, born in Gary, Indiana, in a household where the value of hard work and family was instilled on him by his mother and father. Transpired later in life on the football field. Fred finished his degree at North Central before getting a walk-on invite with the Chargers. He's also been recently invited to the National Combine next weekend in Ohio for the Arena Football League. So, Fred Blue, good morning, and go Chargers.
Hi, good morning, everybody. How y'all doing?
We're doing great, Fred.
Great.
Good,
Derek,
Fred.
take it away. Let's talk to Fred and wrap up the rest of the sports for the week.
So, Fred, first question, I'll just get it off the bat. You know, I was going to let us have you kind of share your experiences in the NFL with the Chargers and kind of, let everyone know what it was like to play on Sunday.
You know what? It was a dream come true, man. It was actually surreal. I finally got a chance to live out a dream that has been on me since, I want to say, birth, man. It was just a great feeling, and knowing that you accomplished something that a lot of people don't get a chance at. So it felt great.
What was like the most memorable moment for you playing in the NFL? You know, was it a specific game, specific moment, playing against a certain player? What was that one kind of memory that you have of your best moment playing for the Chargers in the NFL?
And to be honest, the best moment is when I actually sat down in the office, man, and put my name on that practice team contract, and just knowing that I had that logo put behind my name. It was absolutely amazing.
So playing North Central, was that a D1 team?
Actually, North Central College is Division III.
Division III. So going from a Division III school to the NFL, you probably have never played anywhere close to something that large. Like you didn't play in those big, cool bowl games, those big, rivalry games in NCAA. So stepping on a field seeing all those people around you, that must have been the most you've ever played, in your lifetime.
You know what? It was a big difference as far as the crowd goes, and you got the reporters and the spectators. It was definitely a big change from Division III as far as audience wise.
Now, you feel like you had you were stereotyped a little bit because you were a Division III athlete?
You know, we often get that being smaller schools, man. People always try to knock the level of competition, but a lot of people don't understand that most of the Division I athletes that can't cut it, whether or not it's grades or acceptance or they get bumped down, they come down to these levels. And we still get high quality talent, man. We still produce a lot of athletes in the NFL, AFL, overseas, however you want to look at it. The competition is still highly and very competitive.
No, yeah, absolutely. It's funny because I can relate to you absolutely because I played a couple years of Division III basketball as well. And kind of making that move, from bigger schools to a Division III school. So I can relate to you 100%. And I know a bunch of guys that went on to play professional basketball after playing Division III basketball as well. So I completely understand your complexity. So now I understand that your uncle Mel Gray was an 11-year veteran wide receiver.
Yes, sir.
And now growing up, did that motivate you to be a football player? Was he your role model?
You know what? I actually have a few family members that played in the NFL. My Uncle Mel, I actually didn't meet him until my sophomore year of college. And when I met him, I was using him as a specific track and field type of training for speed. And we ended up crossing paths and knowing that we had relatives. So I did some background research. He did some checking on his end, and we ended up being related. So it was kind of weird how that came about.
That's interesting how crazy circumstances like that lead to finding family members. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
So now in the next next weekend you're going to be at the AFL Combine. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And now what are you trying? What do you hope to get out of that?
You know what? Same thing everyone else is looking for, man, a job. I'm expecting to go there and actually see some pretty high-quality talent, man, and I'm just ready to compete and show everybody that, it just because it's an AFL ball, man, doesn't mean that the quality is not NFL talent,
Absolutely.
So, Fred, let me just ask you a quick question. We had Anton Brown on, friend of yours, last weekend, and he was also going to this combine. Just let your listeners know that aren't as aware of the AFL combine. Is it like the NFL combine? Do they have a draft in the AFL? Is it just pretty much a big roll call and then these teams will sign you? How it will actually work next weekend?
As far as the whole AFL thing, what it is tomorrow is more of a scouting combine. They're going to bring you in. You're going to do your testing, your 40s, your broad jump, all the measurables, man. And as far as them having a draft, you know how it goes, man. When people leave school, they try to pick up the fresh talent first, and they had a free agency period where they pick up talent. So both periods are still open. Both periods are still going to make big moves. So it's it's up in the air right now to figure out where me, Twan, and Terrence Freeman all looking at right now.
Is there a specific team you're hoping to land with?
Oh, man, that's a big one. Any team that's willing to give me a shot, man, and put my name on their roster and let me play. But
so there's no team that's closest to home or where that you'd like to play just because you have a lot of family members or friends around there or you like the area?
You know what? The Chicago Rush, man, it would be a great place for me to be. The organization itself is nice. I really enjoyed my time up there for the last workout we went to. And, me being an Indiana guy, man, hometown, I get a lot of support from fans, from local schools. So it'd be nice for me to stick around here.
And the good thing about the Arena Football League is everything is indoors. You don't have to worry about the cold weather or the sunshine. It's the same temperature no matter where you go. You just have to avoid the boards.
Hey, man, football is football, baby. Step it up.
Now for you, playing defensive end linebacker, is it a little different, on an NFL field than it would be inside on an AFL field? I mean, are the strategies different? Are the type of play I know is a little different, but as far as a defensive end outside linebacker is concerned, what are your concerns, kind of going back and forth, as far as your game?
Well, actually, one of my biggest selling points is a lot of people don't know or don't realize is that I started my career as safety. So for me to bring that down all the way to the defensive line, man, and LB spot to actually get inside the box in the outdoor game, it was kind of a big judgment, a big change as far as getting into the field. When you go to the arena ball, man, they have so many different rules as far as so many people can stay inside this box. You can't have 4 rushers, or you only have 3 at a certain time. That part's going to be a little different to get used to, but if you adapt to it and you get moving. As far as being a player and technique wise, linebacker spots, you run first, pass second, you engage on blocks, you get off blocks, man. Playing ball is playing ball.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead, Derek.
I was going to say, is there an area of your game that you've been improving on since your time with the Chargers that you feel will help you next weekend and also going forward to trying to get back in the NFL?
Man, when you say a specific area, man, it's football. I try to improve on every aspect of my game, but the biggest gripe that I heard from the Chargers when I was released was my ability to, we call it chicken fighting. It's when you try to get off the blocks with your hands, play the sweat moves, rips, and whatnot. In college, I was always bigger and faster than a lot of offensive linemen, so I never really had to really use those moves. So I actually been working on that a lot with my trainers, man. We do a lot of hand fighting techniques, a lot of bag drills, man. And to be honest, I think that'll probably be the strongest part of my game as far as me working on to get back in the NFL.
Now, do you prefer, it says defensive end, do you prefer playing outside linebacker a little more than a hand-in-the-dirt defensive end?
I actually prefer standing up, man, because like I said, I started at safety, so I feel better and I feel more productive when I'm able to run around, man, run loose and make plays. But, when you put your hand in the dirt and the guy across from you, man, can't really keep up with you foot for foot, you can't argue with that. It's like eating 3 meals, man.
So stepping away from the game, Fred, what do you like to do when you want to just kind of unwind and, take yourself away from training and for football?
Oh, man. I'm a very big bowler. I love bowling, man. I do a lot of drawing. And I'm a pretty big gamer, man. Call of Duty, Madden, any sports games. I just like to try to put myself in a position where I can actually get away from quote-unquote reality at the time. So
I just pictured you walking in a bowling alley with like these flashy shoes and your own ball, like for some reason, just kind of walked in and I can't picture the guy that would use the an alley ball. You probably have your own ball, don't you, with your engraved stuff, something on there.
Yes, definitely, man. I have it's actually funny that you said that. I actually do have my own bowling shoes, man, and they're a nice bright gold. It's kind of nice. I like them. I like color, so.
Yeah. So I was looking at your Twitter account. You seem to be a little bit of a movie buff.
Oh man, yes, I love movies, man. Love them.
So what's that one movie that hopefully you don't say Scarface because that seems to be the movie that everyone says. But what's that one movie that you can never watch enough?
To be honest, it's a movie by the name of Never Back Down.
Okay.
It's actually about martial arts and UFC fighting, and it's just amazing, man. I love action movies. I like to see people get at it, and it's just it's fun.
That is a good movie. I've seen that before. That's a good one. I'm kind of interested now to see Derek, what your one movie would be. Since you asked Fred that question.
God, I just what? I'm the kind of person that if I enjoy a movie, I can watch it over and over again. So there's a few of them like that. Even Moneyball recently. Just something if I enjoy, because it seems, or even another one was that I read the book as well, was The Blind Side. It seems like every time I watch that movie, I pick something else up that I didn't notice the other time around. So it just seems to be something that if I like a movie, I'll watch it over and over again. If I hate it the first time, don't ask me to go watch it again. So I don't mind watching movies over and over because I've picked something up every time. American History X is another great one with Ed Norton. If you guys haven't watched that,
I love that movie.
That's a great movie.
Yeah, no, for me it's Shawshank Redemption, Braveheart. And The Patriot. I could watch over and over again.
So we know the kind of movie that Frank would like. So, Fred, one last question for you as we're kind of off the topic of your football career is kind of your most embarrassing song on your iPod. You have one.
Wow, the most embarrassing song on my iPod.
It's all right if it's a Bieber thing. I'm Canadian.
Definitely. You know what? I'm not gonna be afraid to admit I do listen to Justin Bieber. I think he has a little song. I can't remember the name of it. It was real catchy and really poppy. So I wouldn't say it's the most embarrassing. The most embarrassing is probably I want to say it was Carrie Underwood. And she's
that's not too
beating up the guy's car.
You know,
That's not too bad.
You know, it could be worse. You know,
Yeah.
I just it could be Carly Rae Jepsen's "Call Me Maybe."
Yeah. and I'll tell you what.
That would definitely be worse.
See, I can see you and Anton in the gym, kind of, you know, playing off, singing that song together.
You know what? The funny thing about me and Antoine, man, is that we grew up in the same area. We play high school ball together and against each other. And every day in the gym, man, we compete and we go at it. But, man, we're like oil and water, man. He puts on music, I hate it. I put on something, he hates it. But it's definitely a good camaraderie, man, between me and Antoine.
So, Fred, my phone just buzzed here, and apparently you like working out to Marvin Gaye?
That's old school.
Yeah, that's.
Hey, you know what? The way I see it is like this. When I'm on the field, man, I'm always angry. It's like you gotta get in that mode when you lift weights and you work out.
Absolutely.
And you know what? R&B does it for me, man. It puts me at a nice place where I can, get it going, man.
So, but before we cut to break, what's that one Marvin Gaye song they like to belt out when you're lifting weights?
Oh, man. It's everybody's favorite. You know what it is, man.
Say it.
Yeah, it's that one.
It's that one, the one that we're all thinking of?
Yeah.
Yes, it's that one.
Okay.
Yeah, John, you should open up next
Let's take
segment
a
with
break
Marvin
and come
Gaye song.
back. Phone calls at 877-297-8022. Fred Blue is here, formerly of the San Diego Chargers. We'll talk NFL right after a break here on the CANUSA Sports Desk with the 405 Radio.
You're on the 405.
Happy holidays, everybody. This is Dave Koz for RAD, recording artists, actors, and athletes against drunk driving. When you're traveling during the holidays and see someone who's had too much to drink about to get behind the wheel of their car, get the car keys. Your friends will thank you for it because friends don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Carl Edwards from Roush Racing. When I'm driving, I always buckle up.
We always buckle up.
Buckle up.
Buckle up.
Buckle up.
Buckle up.
And you should too.
Every trip, every time.
Every trip, every time.
Every trip, every time.
Every trip, every time.
Every trip and every time. Yeah.
Buckle up every trip, every time.
Hey, sports fans, this is Derek Marquez.
And Frank Nutt from the CANUSA Sports Desk on the 405 Radio.
Just a reminder to check out our live shows on Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific.
And CANUSA Sports Desk post-game show, which airs following the Sunday night football game and after any other big sport event.
Check us out on iTunes and download our podcasts of any of our old shows that you've missed.
CANUSA Sports Desk and CANUSA Sports Desk post-game show are available for download shortly after we air.
Check us out on our website at www.canusasd.com. That's CANUSASD.com for our latest blogs.
And you can also follow us on Twitter at CANUSASD for your up-to-date latest sports info and tweets for our upcoming shows.
Here at the Weekend 405, we like to get beachy and mellow out.
Look at the big Bob Marley.
We know you listen to escape the harsh realities of the work week.
It's a little harsh.
Wash the weekend down with the 405.
The cannonball.
You're on the 405.
Oh, that's a fine shot. Oh, I should have yelled too.
It's the CANUSA Sports Desk on the 405 Radio. If you're checking us out on the podcast, we are live Saturday morning at 8 Pacific. That's 11 Eastern. Your phone calls are welcome at 877-297-8022. If you've got iTunes, we're there. Check us out on iTunes, the CANUSA Sports Desk. The last, 15, 20, 25, 30 episodes or something are all sitting out there. Anyway, Derek Marquez is here. Frank Nutt is here. And Fred Blue, I was reading that you were 135 pounds in high school. Is that true?
When I graduated high school, man, I probably graduated maximum probably 150.
Whoa. Man. How'd you do it? I mean, you just, grow into it, or you just a late bloomer?
You know what? Well, I think I hit my spot probably right at the mid to end of my senior year. But when I started going out to visiting different colleges and schools, man, I saw how big these guys were. And I was like, no way.
Yeah, I read that. I couldn't believe that when I checked that out. Derek Marquez, let's talk about the NFL.
Yeah, so first question I wanted to ask Frank and Fred was, what's up with the Washington Redskins? Are they a potential contender for a playoff team this year, Frank?
Absolutely. I think, in the next 4 games, they've got Baltimore, Cleveland, Philly, and Dallas. So they end their year with a Baltimore team who has been up and down, and they have them at home, and then they have Cleveland and Philly, which really don't have anything to play for, so they could lock up 2 wins there, and then depending on the standings, I mean, Washington-Dallas game, the winner could go into the playoffs. So I mean, you almost say that with the Giants struggling right now, that this division is up for grabs, and I think their win on Monday night or over the Giants, really catapulted them into the conversation. They're 6-6. Do you see a 9-7 team or an 8-8 team winning this division?
They're possibly. Well, I think right now, I think the Cowboys have taken a step back, and the division showed on Monday night. It is a Giants-Redskins kind of division. I think those 2 teams are the 2 teams that have been kind of in their stride. And personally, I find Washington fun to watch. RG3 can run, he can throw. So I've seen a lot of Washington this year because I've had him as my fantasy quarterback all year. So, but the kid can just rifle a ball. So I wouldn't mind seeing Washington in the playoffs. They play exciting offensive football, and seeing the stadium rock there like it did in Washington. Absolutely. It just reminds me of the old RFK.
Yep.
So Fred, what do you think of Washington's 2012 NFL campaign?
You know what? The Redskins are definitely they made a stride as a team, man. Picking up RG3, he's definitely a field general. They're starting to find an identity within his game, and they're letting him get out a little more. The Redskins definitely have a jail defense, man, that's really kind of stingy as far as the pass game. With them missing a rack pole, it's still, you got to fill in certain spots. I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan, so this next game is going to be kind of rough, but I got to go with the Skins, man.
Do you think St. Louis is kicking themselves for trading that pick and giving pretty much RG3 to Washington? Do you think RG3? I said, do you think it'd be better than Sam Bradford?
Right now, you got to think that right now they're doing that. They're like, man, we missed the jewel. But the NFL career is long, man. Things happen. They still could get a gem. Just got to produce it more, or become more productive. But
it's almost they could have taken him, had him and Sam Bradford there, and seen if RG3 shown that he was more of the quarterback. Trade Bradford away because, someone would have given someone something for Sam Bradford. But I just think right now I would take RG3 over Sam Bradford easily. What do you think, Frank?
Oh, absolutely. I think what they did trading that pick away could haunt this franchise, for the next 10 years, especially if RG3 continues to get better. And then you look at Sam Bradford a little bit, he was a number 1 overall pick. I really think they'd get a first-round pick for him. Maybe like a first and a third, for him. And that would definitely help, that franchise. So if you imagine that franchise with another 2 top 3 draft picks, plus RG3, plus some of the weapons that they have with Fred Jackson, I mean, that team is a totally different team. They, especially in the division they're in, they could be looking at a playoff spot as opposed to, the typical, top draft pick that they're going to have yet again, for the umpteenth year in a row. So I think this, could haunt them. And I'm always under the impression that, yes, every position on the football field is valuable, but anytime you can get a quarterback the level of an Andrew Luck or an RG3, I feel like no matter who you have at that spot, you have to go ahead and make that move and draft him.
Yeah, I think right now St. Louis is kind of still not sure what they have in Bradford. The weapons. Tony Amendola has been hurt most of the year. Steven Jackson's kind of taken a step back. He's not the force that he was a few years ago. They have Richardson kind of has their second back kind of splitting the yards, so it's kind of 60 yards one guy will get and 50 the other, so kind of more of a 50-50 playing time. But right now I think RG3 would help that team a lot better than Sam Bradford is at this point. But like I said, yeah, Sam Bradford could probably get you something because his value was high. But another year proving what Sam Bradford showed, you won't get as much as they would have last year at this time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Derek, a Bills fan, and I live in Jets country. Tell me either of those teams wouldn't take Sam Bradford as their starting quarterback next year.
Oh, I would take Bradford, but then again, there's a lot of backup quarterbacks I would take over Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Well, absolutely, but I'm just saying. I mean, if you're the Bills with that 10, 11 pick in the draft next year, are you calling a St. Louis team if they have RG3 and Sam Bradford on that same team? Are you calling them saying, hey, I'll give you a first-round pick for Sam Bradford? I don't see, the Eagles, the Jets, Arizona. I mean, all of those teams would gladly take Sam Bradford, in my opinion.
Well, just look at the team that Fred played for in the San Diego Chargers, what they did with Drew Brees. They still drafted Phillip Rivers. They had both of them at one time. So, it's never a bad thing to do because not many quarterbacks can come in out of college and be a force in the NFL like Andrew Luck or RG3. So what were we going to say earlier there, Fred?
You have to actually, because we're looking at it as like a spectator right now. And when you look at it from the other side of the fence, man, it's really, you have to fit into the program and the coach's vision and the way that the offense is ran. If you look at what RG3 did in college, man, at Baylor, his offense is somewhat similar to what he's running over in Washington. Now, Sam Bradford, being the pocket quarterback he is in St. Louis, is based off the weapons and the type of linemen they have. They bring RG3 into St. Louis, man. They're going to have to revamp the entire offense, the weapons he has around them. And to be honest, they're probably looking at like, hey, that's going to be more cost efficient for us to keep Sam and build a team around him than bring in somebody who's better than Sam Bradford and pay everybody for him.
You bring up a good point. Mike Shanahan did a really good job, building the Washington offense around, RG3's strengths, especially in what he's used to and comfortable with in Baylor. So, kudos to Mike Shanahan for doing that as well. We can't forget that.
Absolutely, and and the job that Kyle Shanahan's done, with that offense is, and you have to look too. I mean, he might be a Rookie of the Year candidate, but you have to look at Alfred Morris too. I mean, the way he's running the ball I believe he was a 3rd round pick or a 4th round pick. The way he's been able to draw in that play action, has really been great for RG3. And moving forward, who do you think has had the best second half of their season so far? Putting them in the playoff in a playoff hunt or solidifying a playoff spot, Derek?
I think it's the Colts. They just really have come on. They've ever since the Chuck Pagano news came out about his cancer, this team's really kind of stuck together, and they're just winning games. He's impressing me. Andrew Luck last week was just remarkable. So for me, it's got to be Indy. How about yourself there, Fred?
I gotta say, man, I gotta go with Indy, man, because the way they started off, man, they look a little shaky. The second half of the season, man, they've been kicking it on. The defense is gelling quite nicely, man. The secondary is being a little more stingy. The aggressiveness of the D line and the linebackers, and Luck they actually have more faith in Luck. I see receivers who are cutting and they're actually expecting and waiting for the ball to be there, and that's a definitely good upside for the Colts.
Since we have you on, Fred, as a Ravens fan and as a former linebacker, what's your take on Ray Lewis's injury, and will he be able to come back and be the force that he was, or he's not getting up there in age, and an injury that's taken him out this long. You just think that there's a possibility he's going to come back a step slower.
Man, I tell you what, when I heard about Ray's injury, man, I was as a fan, man, of the game and a fan of Ray Lewis, I was a little hurt, man. I was like, no. But you got to understand, Ray Lewis has been doing this for 16, 17 years now.
Mm-hmm.
He's a 13 plus year Pro Bowler. The guy really has nothing else to prove, man. He's proven it all from day one. Every year he comes back, everyone says he's going to be slower. He's not going to be as strong. Well, he's proven them wrong year in, year out, man. I think as far as triceps go, that's not an ACL tear. That's not a groin muscle tear, something that he can't recover from. He's proved he's a warrior. He's proven in the trenches, man, that he's fighting no matter what. And until someone shows him that he's losing a step or that he's lost his aggressiveness as a linebacker, I think he can stay with him, man. I say prove it.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree 100% too. And to kind of jump back to who's had the best second half of the season so far, I think we can't overlook the job that Peyton Manning's done with the Denver Broncos. They've won eight games in a row. At one point in the season, they were 2-3, and now now they're 10-3. They have the division locked up, and they're in contention for the number one seed in the AFC. I mean, depending on if Houston continues to win games, and tonight we have to look at the Heisman Trophy, kind of bring it back to the college level. And it's funny because before I realized I'm actually going to be in New York City tonight, the time when the Heisman's announced. So I think I might find my way over to Times Square to kind of, check that out. But, what do you guys think of the list of candidates?
That's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't even do it on purpose either. So, Fred, what do you think of the list of candidates for the Heisman this year?
Man, I think it's a tough battle this year. I'm usually not a big fan of the personal awards and the individual awards for the NCAA's, but like I said, the talent is just getting better and better, man. And some guys just they deserve it. And that quarterback from Texas A&M, I believe it is
Johnny Manziel.
Yeah, Johnny Manziel.
Johnny Manziel, man. He definitely put that program on his shoulders, man, and he carried them. And I gotta tip my helmet to him, man. It's amazing.
Yeah, I agree with you, Fred. Johnny Football, like they call him in Texas, it's quite remarkable what he did as a freshman. Even Manti Te'o had a solid year as a senior, and his story. I don't know if you guys have read my blog of him losing his grandmother and his girlfriend one day apart back in September, and still having the year that he did. Colin Klein. I think he had a great run with K-State, getting them to where they were up in the rankings, and then they lost to Baylor. But I just find that there could be some other quarterbacks that could have been there instead of Colin Klein. His numbers weren't as good as Johnny Manziel's, but it'll be interesting to see, will it be kind of Manziel as the first freshman to win it, or Manti Te'o is the first true defensive player, other than when Charles Woodson won it as a cornerback, but no linebacker or defensive end has ever won the award themselves. So that's going to be interesting. Who's announced tonight?
877-297-8022, back with Derek and Frank and Fred Blue on the CANUSA Sports Desk.
You're on the 405.
Heart disease remains a leading killer of Americans and significantly affects the quality of life of countless others who have trouble doing even simple things they once enjoyed. I'm Jimmy Johnson, and like someone you probably know, I have heart disease. Today I'm doing what I love, spending time outdoors and with my family, talking football, and even competing on Survivor. But just a few short years ago, heart disease could have kept me from the sidelines. I couldn't let that happen. My whole career has been about hard work to achieve success. I knew there had to be a winning solution, and I talked to my doctor. Then, working with an interventional cardiologist, we decided on a stent to relieve my heart disease symptoms. I've never looked back. As a survivor, I'm urging you to talk to your doctor and know your risk, because your own health is more important than the biggest game. Learn about your heart disease, get proper treatment, and live well. For more information, visit secondscount.org.
Hey sports fans, this is Derek Marquez.
And Frank Nutt from the CANUSA Sports Desk on the 405 Radio.
Just a reminder to check out our live shows on Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific.
And CANUSA Sports Desk post-game show, which airs following the Sunday night football game and after any other big sport event.
Check us out on iTunes and download our podcasts of any of our old shows that you've missed.
CANUSA Sports Desk and CANUSA Sports Desk post-game show are available for download shortly after we air.
Check us out on our website at www.canusasd.com. That's CANUSASD.com for our latest blogs.
And you can also follow us on Twitter at CANUSASD for your up-to-date latest sports info and tweets for our upcoming shows.
Here at the 405, we've got the cure for the Mondays.
Does anyone ever say to you, sounds like someone has a case of the Mondays? No, man. I believe you get your ass kicked saying something like that, man.
Fridays.
Next Friday is Hawaiian Shirt Day.
Sundays.
I'm also going to need you to go ahead and come in on Sunday.
You'll feel better.
Oh, you know what I'm talking about.
And be a better person.
I have people skills. What the hell is wrong with you people?
Make the 405
I believe you have my stapler.
Staple of your week.
Yeah.
You're on the 405.
Just a bit outside.
It's the CANUSA Sports Desk on the 405 Radio. We are live every Saturday morning at 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific. Your phone calls are toll-free, so dial in right now and join the conversation, 877-297-8022. On Twitter, it's at CANUSASD, and the podcasts hang around as long as you want them on CANUSASD.com, so you can check out some old shows or some blogs or whatever you like out there. Let's give a shout-out to the Twitterverse. We like to do that every Saturday morning, so we'll say hello to the folks in Voorheesville, New York, Hammond, Indiana, Atlantic Beach, Florida, Cherville, Indiana, Toronto, Tampa, Florida, and Chicago, Illinois, checking in here on the CANUSA Sports Desk on the 405 Radio. Back to you, Derek Marquez.
So moving on to the NBA, Fred, what do you think of the New York Knicks season going on so far this year, and are they legitimate NBA championship contenders?
Man, I think they got a rough road ahead of them. I need to see more, but right now they got a lot of individualism going on in their team, man. And I think they need to really step it up as far as gelling together as a unit.
Yeah, I think they are doing well, individually for game-wise. I just don't know if they could put it together in a series. They beat Miami this week, but could they beat Miami in a 7-game series? That's what I'm not sure of. Once you get Amari Stoudemire back, that should be different, and if Amari shows that he's healthy. But right now, they're doing well. They're surprising everybody, but I'm still not confident that they could beat a team like Miami in a 7-game series. But they're definitely one of the best teams in the East by far.
Well, you mind if I jump in on that one?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, when Amari comes back, you're looking at him and the rest of the team, who he himself probably puts up close to about maybe 25, 30 shots a game. That's a lot of ball sharing, and compared to what they've been showed us so far, that's kind of scary, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they were impressive this week against Miami. I don't know if you caught that game there, Fred, but it's just something that the Knicks need to. I hope they are well. They do contend, because it's exciting when New York, for New York basketball, when the Knicks are contending. Them and the Lakers are teams that are kind of the face of the of the NBA. So it's always good to have those teams contending, but. With the Heat's loss to the Wizards and the Knicks, should they be worrying right now?
Oh, wow. I think they should be. Yeah, definitely.
It's interesting because, you have all these star power. You don't expect them to lose. I think these two games, the next game was, they were just beat, by a better team. But the Wizards, they should have beat the Wizards. So I don't know if we chalk it up to a bad night by the players, but I think the Lakers personally have more problems right now than the Heat do. They just can't get it together. They went out and got Steve Nash, who's still kind of sidelined. Dwight Howard, right now he's kind of in the midst of controversy of taking him out in the fourth quarter because he can't hit a free throw if his life depended on it. And they have Mike D'Antoni in now, so there's the things going on in the Laker country right now is just everything is going wrong, and right now they're talking about trading Paul Gasol. Do you think by trading Paul Gasol will righten the ship in LA?
You know what? Right now, as a team, they need to stop trying to make more transactions with players. And that's where you run into your most problems in professional sports. Is you keep bringing in new puzzle pieces, you can't put them together and let them actually get used to each other. You have to let them play, go through a couple losses, go through some wins, man, so they can actually learn how each other play and learn how to react to certain situations, man. So I say leave them alone, man. Let them play ball. Give them some time, man. If they don't work out then you make more moves.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think just that panic button gets hit a little too early, and especially, the Lakers are still showing they have no depth on the bench. By trading one of their starting five, what are you going to expect back from Ferguson? If it is it's a rumor here in Toronto is Andrea Bargnani, but still that's kind of a one-for-one, maybe throwing a depth player, but you really need to improve your depth, and you're not going to trade a player like Paul Gasol for a bunch of bench players to improve your bench. So it'll be interesting to see, but like I say, yeah, they haven't really been healthy all year round, so they're still struggling kind of to get that chemistry going. Once Steve Nash comes in, that's what we're waiting to see, is when Steve Nash is actually there and how that team performs, because he's a magician, especially under Mike D'Antoni offense. So that's what I want to see. I wouldn't really trade anybody or make any changes until Nash is back, and you really know what team you have. Possibly, a deadline trade is never a bad thing, just to kind of, fix those holes at that point. But right now, the holes are just kind of, unnecessary with injury.
And Derek, I think I'm back now. I think my service is better. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
You're good.
All right, awesome. So it's funny, you looking at these topics today, listening. People would think that I wrote these Knicks topics, just based on the amount of buzz around the New York Knicks right now. And I do think they are a legitimate championship contender, just because of the experience that they have and the guys that are around them. And then, the Heat back-to-back losses, it's December. They're the defending champs. Last year, Boston made it to the Eastern Conference Finals and were sub 500 going to the All-Star break. So I think it's early, but they don't need to be good. They need to be good in June, and I think they have the ability to do that. And again, Miami would beat the Knicks in a 7-game series. LeBron James is the best player on the planet. End of story. And Pau Gasol, I think he doesn't fit Mike D'Antoni's system, and I think that's something that people knew going into this. And he didn't do anything right by Pau Gasol by sitting him in the fourth quarter of a game. He's one of the top centers in the NBA. He just doesn't fit. Mike D'Antoni's system doesn't fit a 2-center set. He doesn't have a high post. He has a spread offense, pick and roll, attack the paint, kick to shooters, and Pau Gasol really doesn't fit that. So I think it's a lose-lose, and I think that if they could get a Josh Smith or if they could get a Andre Bargnani with Jose Calderon, and some of the other names that they've been throwing out a little bit, I think that would benefit everyone. But if they had Phil with the triangle, I think that Pau would fit right in. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah, I think so, but I just don't know. You mentioned a couple Raptors names there. I find if that is the trade that they would offer, as a Raptor GM, I wouldn't take it because, Pau Gasol, I'm not sure how long he has left, but he doesn't help the Raptors where they're at this stage of their building. They need someone that's a little younger, who's going to be there down the road, and then Pau Gasol would just be older. So I don't think, if I was the Raptors and I got Pau Gasol, I'd be looking for a 3-way trade to get a younger player to fill in the Raptor lineup, because I don't think Pau Gasol would necessarily help them. But yeah, Jose Calderon and Andre Bargnani would definitely help the Lakers. Kind of add their depth, and you have your 7-foot 3-point shooter in Adriano Bargnani, who I love it here in Toronto.
Let's take a quick break and come back. It's the CANUSA Sports Desk on the 405 Radio.
You're on the 405.
In Disney's classic The Lion King, Mufasa teaches his cub Simba to be confident, wise, and respectful of the world around him. As Simba grows, it's these values that help him claim his place as king of Pride Rock. In our world, every young person's future deserves the solid foundation that a father's involvement and encouragement can provide. And often, it's the smallest moments that can have the biggest impact on a child's life. A game of catch, an afternoon picnic, or even a hug at just the right moment can make all the difference in their world. Play your part in the circle of life. Take time to be a dad today. Visit fatherhood.gov to learn more. That's fatherhood.gov. This message has been brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hey, sports fans, this is Derek Marquez.
And Frank Nutt from the CANUSA Sports Desk on the 405 Radio.
Just a reminder to check out our live shows on Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific.
And CANUSA Sports Desk post-game show, which airs following the Sunday Night Football game and after any other big sport event.
Check us out on iTunes and download our podcasts of any of our old shows that you've missed.
CANUSA Sports Desk and CANUSA Sports Desk post-game show are available for download shortly after we air.
Check us out on our website at www.canusasd.com. That's CANUSASD.com for our latest blogs.
And you can also follow us on Twitter at CANUSASD for your up-to-date latest sports info and tweets for our upcoming shows.
John Grant here on the 405 Radio from Los Angeles, California. We feature live talk Saturdays from 9 till noon Eastern and weeknights at 11 Eastern. The rest of the week, check out the West Coast Adult Alternative right here on the 405 Radio.
You're on the 405.
You know, I've often thought of becoming a golf club.
It's the CANUSA Sports Desk on the 405 Radio. Toll free, you call us. You talk to the guys, 877-297-8022. Derek Marquez, take it away.
So, Frank, we were talking in the break about the NHL there.
Yep. And, I kind of wanted to get your feel a little bit, about will there be a hockey season this year? What do you think about the talks that have been going on? They brought in the players, specifically Sidney Crosby, I believe, was there talking to the owners, trying to reach a deal. We've seen this done in past sports before where, they kind of kick, the mediators out and, to just talk face-to-face, players and owners. And then I guess we saw when the mediators came back, the problems arose again. So what is your gut feeling right now? Will we see NHL hockey this year? Will it be, pre-Christmas, post-Christmas? We look in mid-January. What is your feel right now?
As long as Gary Bettman and Don Fehr are talking to each other, there will not be hockey. I think we showed that this week. I think I was very confident around Wednesday when the players and owners were talking, and the people that are actually involved in the game and have interest in the game, they actually were working together. And once those parties kind of broke and let the baseball guy and the basketball guy walk in to talk hockey, everything broke again. I think this is a big pissing contest between Don Fehr and Gary Bettman, and they're taking it personal, and they're not thinking about the game and the damage it's doing for the product. And once it all comes back, you can say sorry all you want, but the fans are really getting sick of it, and we're finding other avenues to watch. But it just finds that it's 6 owners and a group of players. They came together. They're working towards a deal. Everyone was kind of on the same page. And I guess there was rumors that the owner said that if you bring Don Fehr back into the room, this deal is off. And the players that were there, Sidney Crosby, Ron Hainsey, and some other ones were saying, we're NHL hockey players. We're not lawyers. We cannot, nail down $1 billion CBA without, representation like Don Fehr. Because I agree with them. You can't ask the players to do Don Fehr's job. They're paid to put pucks in the net or stop them, not to iron out collective bargaining agreements. But for me, I just hope that when this is done, I've mentioned it before, that it is a long-term deal, and we don't have to talk about this for another 10, 15 years. If they come back and say we found a deal and it's 4 or 5 years, it's just going to lead to another work stoppage in a handful of years, and that's just kind of, you're beating the dead horse, and I was like, oh, here we go again. But I know in past shows I've been kind of ranting on my buddy Gary, but I think Don Fehr gets as much to blame as Gary Bettman. You can't say it's one or the other. I think it's both of them in that position trying to kind of win this battle, and they're taking it very personal. It's very Don versus Gary, opposed to the NHL versus the NHLPA, or what's the best for the fans. But definitely, I don't think there's going to be hockey this year. I think as long as those two players are going on those two men are involved, and it really will be up to the players and the owners to tell Gary and Don, saying, okay, we've had enough. We want this. Have a secret ballot for the players to vote on something, and bypass Donald Fehr's opinion. Just say, okay, this is what we want. We're happy with this. Where it's not up to Don Fehr for him to be happy as long as the players are happy. So, but right now I don't think there's going to be hockey. The good thing is in a few weeks there will be the World Junior Hockey Championships, which is a Christmas tradition in Canada. So every Canadian household will be watching Team Canada World Juniors being played, and no one's going to talk about CBA or this lockout. So I'm looking forward to that personally.
Yeah, and Derek, kind of looking at it from a player perspective, I mean, you're losing a year of their prime, for Sidney Crosby, Alexander Ovechkin, Malkin. These guys are losing a year right in the middle, their late 20s, they're losing one of the best years of their career. What do you think that has an effect on, their decision whether they want to get a deal done or not?
Well, the good thing is you just read my mind. That's actually my next blog I'll be writing about, is what players are actually being most affected by this lockout, and I'm thinking more of the Jaromir Jagrs, the older players in the league that, you're taking that step back, that you're going to really kind of miss that 1 year. But Crosby and Ovechkin, they're still young, and they're still in their prime. This 1 year won't affect them as much as possibly Jagr.
Yeah, I hope we
take a quick break and come back with the rapid-fire wrap-up on the CANUSA Sports Desk on the 405 Radio. We'll be right back.
You're on the 405.
Exercise is hard. So is maintaining a healthy diet. Of course, neither is half as hard as dying. Sadly, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and stroke kill nearly 1 million people a year. Even sadder, most of these deaths are preventable with a few lifestyle changes, including regular activity, healthier eating, and not smoking. Talk to your doctor about your risk for type 2 diabetes and heart disease. And if your doctor recommends lifestyle changes or medication, listen. The reason so many die is because not enough are willing to change. You can stop it, starting right now. It's your life. Listen to your doctor. Eat better. Get moving. Visit checkupamerica.org or call 1-800-DIABETES. A message from the American Diabetes Association.
Hey sports fans, this is Derek Marquez.
And Frank Nutt from the CANUSA Sports Desk on the 405 Radio.
Just a reminder to check out our live shows on Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific.
And CANUSA Sports Desk post-game show, which airs following the Sunday Night Football game and after any other big sport event.
Check us out on iTunes and download our podcasts of any of our old shows that you've missed.
CANUSA Sports Desk and CANUSA Sports Desk post-game show are available for download shortly after we air.
Check us out on our website at www.canusasd.com. That's CANUSASD.com for our latest blogs.
And you can also follow us on Twitter at CANUSASD for your up-to-date latest sports info and tweets for our upcoming shows.
There's no crying in baseball!
And it's the closing segment of the CANUSA Sports Desk on the 405 Radio. As usual, we'll do our rapid-fire wrap-up. So, gentlemen, pay attention. Here's the 4 questions. Which player should win the 2012 Heisman Trophy? Question number 2, who is the top freshman in college basketball this year? I also want to ask you, David Beckham finishing his soccer career with his second Major League Soccer trophy with the Galaxy. What did he do for the league overall during his stay? And what are you watching this week? Go.
So I'll start off. My Heisman Trophy will go to Johnny Manziel, who'll be the first freshman quarterback. Top college player, I'm going to go Anthony Bennett from UNLV, the freshman forward. I don't think David Beckham did that much of as help to the MLS. He did bring older players like Henry into the league, but actually the quality of soccer in the MLS itself, he did not improve himself. And what I'll be watching tonight is the Heisman Trophy ceremony. Frank?
The 2012 Heisman Trophy, my head says Johnny Manziel, my heart says Manti Te'o. The top freshman, in my opinion, right now is Yogi Ferrell. He's the starting point guard for the number one team in the country right now, Indiana. David Beckham. Since David Beckham came into the MLS, the top, money's gone up. Viewership has gone up. Top 5 guys in the MLS are all from Europe or all from overseas, making the most money. So I think he has had a positive impact on the league. And I'm watching the Heisman Trophy tonight and Monday Night Football.
Fred.
Okay, let's see. Heisman Trophy. I give it to Javon Clowney, man, from Southern California. So, what was next? Freshman of the year for basketball. I got to go with Yogi. I'm from Indiana, man.
And the impact David Beckham left?
You know what? David Beckham brought a lot of spectators, man. He brought along a lot of different views to the game, man, and he brought more people to it. So I think he did a lot for the game himself, not so much.
And what is Fred Blue watching this week?
Man, this week, man, I'm going to catch up on my Sons of Anarchy, man. Definitely.
John?
What am I watching this week? It's got to be Sunday Night Football. Green Bay Packers and Detroit Lions. And I want to see what Bob Costas says in the deer hunting capital of the world, which would be Wisconsin, about gun ownership. I was hearing that 3 out of 4 NFL players own a gun. I know you guys don't like to mess around with politics here, but I'm curious. Fred Blue, are you a shooter? Do you got a gun? Do you enjoy hunting or anything?
And I'm not. The only 2 guns I have are the ones on my arms, man.
Great answer. I got 2 guns and they're my arms.
And looking at his Twitter pictures, I agree with him.
Exactly.
John,
we are back on tomorrow night after Sunday Night Football, and again next week Saturday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. It's the CANUSA Sports Desk. Check out the podcasts on canusasd.com and on iTunes as well. So Derek Marquez, thanks very much.
Anytime, John.
And Frank Nutt, go Knicks.
Yeah, it's like always.
Yeah, and Fred, nice to talk to a guy who spent some time in Southern California. I mean, one of the few teams I guess we have left out here, former Chargers player, Fred Blue. Thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I had a blast.
Okay, that's it for the CANUSA Sports Desk here on the 405 Radio. And until next week, John Grant here. Be talking to you.
The preceding program was recorded earlier so the producer and cast didn't have to walk home in the dark.